Welcome, Empire fans, to a special podcast of Wheelersburg football. Speaking with head coach Rob Woodward and Coach. One thing is that's not different from this year is you're actually going into a playoff game playing a team that you actually played the last previous contest. Granted, there's a week in between, but you've been in this situation before. Going into the next week playing the team that you just kind of played, and what is your mindset as far as going forward with your kids, as far as getting them ready and prepared for the same opponent?
Well, it's playoffs. Do or die now. And our kids understand that. And, of course, the other team I know will be the same way. They'll understand that. And everybody's going to throw everything they got. They're going to play, as hard as they can, as fast as they can. They're going to, try to do everything they can. Not that any team doesn't do that in a game to try to win, but when you get in the playoffs, it's a special time, special opportunity. This year's a little different with how things have shaken out, and we had a little extra time to prepare, and we've had a little break time, but we got to get ourselves back in, focused, ready to go. Our guys have been making efforts at that this week to make sure that they're locked in and look to execute. And by execute, that means play fast. And if you're not thinking, you're playing fast. And our coaching staff and players have been working on that all week.
Against West at Portsmouth West, West brought a good fight to Wheelersburg. And how do you counterpunch that when they come to Ed Miller?
Well, we've got to be the one that's the aggressor. We've got to be the one that's going after them. We're not looking back and catching and not seemingly surprised at what they may do. And I told our kids before the last game, and same this game, they've got hunger in them. They want to play the game as hard and fast as they can. So we got to counterpunch that, as you mentioned, with just going out and coming off the ball and being sound and playing the game as fast as we can.
Coach, you've been able to kind of assess your team and up until week 7 here, and you took a break there. And I know it is an odd season, but looking back on the season, I'm sure you're glad with your coaching staff to get the games in. How have you and your coaching staff, maybe you can talk a little bit about your coaching staff, of kind of addressed this kind of odd year as you guys went along?
Well, everything's been really on track with exactly what we've done in the past. Now, we've had to do a little differently in terms of groups and keeping people separated and working through different things, following along the guidelines as best we can. We're trying to keep our guys recognizing and understanding what efforts we need to make because we've lost some players this year over the course of a 10-day period because of the COVID situation, and our guys need to understand that it's something we don't want anyone to be fall to, especially anyone within our team. And our coaching staff has shown up every day and done everything just the same as they have always in the past, and that's put our kids in situations to be successful and push them to their limits, and they've done a great job of doing that. Coach Chad Johnson, our defense coordinator, really has put together some great game plans, keeping things simple. Coach May working with our defensive line. I always talk about how he just really dials those guys in and where they need to be. Coach Tilley with the linebackers fitting in behind them. And Coach Williams in the secondary, I think are all just doing a great job of keeping things simple and working our kids on where they need to be aligned and react properly to different things. Coach Caskey on the other side, on the offensive side of the ball, him and Coach Sutton really working the run game with Coach Tilley at the running backs, quarterbacks. Coach Shires working with them as well. And then Eddie Miller on staff this year working with the receivers. All those guys have really, again, been able to keep teams on their toes and taking really a fresh group of offensive linemen, while they're veteran linemen in terms of seniors. They're fresh guys in terms of their starting there and working them through the different things they need to do. And some of our young backs that are seeing more time in terms of Eric and Derek Lattimore and then Matthew Miller back after missing a season last year, and just finding ways to get them to football and that's what we've had to try to do throughout the entire year. Now, COVID has again kept us separated a little more and this and that, but we've still come out and attacked practice and done things the way we need to in order to put on a great team on the field.
Coach, I'd like to ask you a unique question. Here lately we've seen Trevin Malt, go to the state tournament in golf. Matty Gill's going in tennis. Volleyball's had success. Soccer teams had success. Football's had success. At all levels here. What do you think attributes that? I graduated from Williamsburg, and I know you're kind of been assimilated in here, but just your thoughts on what you think, how Williamsburg's able to connect to the kids to get them into a winning mentality.
Well, that's a question I've been asked a lot, and being a non-Burgite myself, I moved in here 18 years ago and have essentially almost spent more time here as I did at home. I left home at 18 to go on to college. But what I've just recognized is just a sense of how well people are held accountable for what needs to be done in terms of demanding excellence, whether it be in practice or on the game, or in the classroom, or in the weight room, or just in terms of everything that we've done. I've always been impressed with how Wheelersburg, from what I've seen, has made the most of whatever it is that they have. I attribute back to our locker room that we had underneath the stands. Our locker room wasn't anything outstanding at that time, but, man, we had individuals that worked to make it the best it could possibly be in regards to what we had to work with. And I've just that contribution to the kids, and then myself as a coach, and I know all the coaches in the other programs, whether it be baseball, softball, and all those ones that you mentioned and talked about. Everybody is just working to push kids to recognize and show gratitude for what is provided for them by going out and putting the best product that we can on the field. And sometimes that's hard. It's a hard thing to do, to get kids to understand where their mistakes are and the competition level that it takes in order to put yourself out there and be successful. But it's really something, again, that the administration, the coaches have all pushed in these young people and these young student athletes. And, you're seeing that product on the field turn out to be quite excellent.
Coach, do you think you could be as successful if you didn't have that community support? No, I think the community support is phenomenal, and it adds so much to everything. But going back to, I was talking about the coaches that I have on my staff. I have so many people that help me. There's so many parts and pieces from the managers that I have. Justin Feeman, Dave Blevins, Tyler Ray that's helped with us, Alex Hackworth, Brian Kraft has come out and helped some this year. All these guys that contribute time to help make things great for these student athletes. And I know every program has people that are behind the scenes working and striving to provide things. And all that community support has been tremendous. And even down to the Pee Wee levels. I was sitting at a practice the other night. I know there's teams in the area that canceled their youth programs back in the summer and fall because it was going to be hard. It was going to be extremely difficult to try to push through and do some of the things, the guidelines that they had. We stuck with it. We tried to put a plan in place. I think we've been effectively doing that. We're working on wrapping things up this Friday with our it's going to be a Super Friday, if you will. Not Super Saturday, but Super Friday games because we have the Saturday playoff games this year early. Friday night, we're going to have a flag with 4 teams competing against one another, averaging about 10 to 12 players on each team. We're going to have 4 teams competing in our our Pee Wee program. And those teams, I take that back, 3 teams that are all, kids that are developing themselves, working and getting better. And that's, again, what you got to have in order to help our program continue to grow. And it's taken so many people to make all that happen. Coach, we appreciate it. Any final thoughts before we get off this week?
Really proud of what I've seen. As you got me thinking about all our youth programs, our freshmen, our seventh grade wraps up this week with a game at Valley on Thursday. Our eighth grade plays a game next Monday or Friday. I'm not sure what they've finalized with that against Northwest. And both our programs have put together teams out there that, again, we keep guys within those classes. They've done extremely well. And I mentioned our youth programs in there. Our freshmen have had an outstanding season this year. Lost one game by 1 point to Cabell Midland, and were able to go out and compete in 5 other games. Our JVs had a great season this year with one loss in a monsoon to Ironton here at home. But again, it's taken so many people and so many parts to keep all that working, and that's all building our program. Our guys right now in the varsity program have gone through those levels, and again, I'm thankful for everybody that contributes to all that.
That's Coach Rob Woodward with this week's final thoughts before he heads on to take off west. Of course, Burke fan will be there. It is a 7 o'clock kickoff. Our podcast this Saturday is brought to you by Make a Mia Pizza there on Dogwood Ridge. So if you can, just stop in and support them. Coach, appreciate your time, and good luck against West Saturday night.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. Go Bird.